Hi everyone, my name is Jo and I love to read, but today I'm going to be doing a TV show review. I feel like I rebranded probably at the wrong time because I had branded myself to be just Jo Carter, where I just did book related stuff, but it wouldn't have been weird if I divulged into other things because I didn't have a bookish related channel. But now I've changed myself to Jo Loves to Read, but all of a sudden I'm getting a flood of wanting to do personal stuff. Anyways, that's not the trend. I just want to talk about books mainly, but this particular series finale I want to talk about, and I can't find anybody else. Well, I'm sure on Reddit maybe and on the internet, but I've looked for reviews of people and nobody seems to share my feelings. And that is talking about the season finale of The Big Bang Theory. There are going to be spoilers if you haven't watched the end of this, so tread carefully if you don't like getting spoilers and you haven't watched it. Spoiler alert for the review, I was really disappointed by this series finales. The Big Bang Theory is a show that I have loved for many years. To begin with, I wasn't like all over the bandwagon because I'd never actually sat down and watched it, but when I did, it has been one of the shows that have brought out some laugh out loud moments where I have been cacking, and I have really enjoyed watching it. Although I know that some of the themes in the show aren't particularly great. It's not something that you want to necessarily take seriously. It's just a light-hearted, fun love letter to fandoms, I guess, to poke fun at people in fandoms, but also to be in love with people in fandoms. And it is a big conversation about relationships and crossing over between things, and I really loved it. Hence why I was so disappointed in the finale and probably in the final season. For someone who was dying to watch it, when I finally decided to purchase the final season on YouTube, it wasn't something that I sped through. I watched it really slowly, and I've got to say probably because it wasn't super spectacular. First, I'll talk about Raj and his relationship with Anu. Now, I felt that was really interesting throughout most of the season, and just to be clear, I'm not going to be reviewing the season because I honestly can't really remember what happened. But when we get to the last couple of episodes, Anu is moving to London and Raj has to make this decision going, I really like this girl. We decided to take it slow because he met her through Indian matchmaking. They were going to get married, but then they decided, no, like, let's make it slow. Let's talk about do a normal relationship. And Anu asked him to move to London for him, and he agrees, but then at the last moment, in like the second last episode, Howard runs and finds him, and he's like, do you actually really love her, or do you, like, if you do, then go and I'll be happy for you, but if you don't, then please stay behind because I think that you deserve someone who is into the same things as you are. And I do agree, but why was this in, like, it didn't tie up Raj's character and his romance, and I feel like Raj and his life really could have been a center point in the last couple of episodes to tie up his relationship, and I feel like that could have worked as opposed to some of the other stuff that they threw in with the other characters whose storylines were pretty much done at this point. Why didn't they focus more on Raj? Why didn't they give him the romance that he deserved? Why did we end the season with him? Like, why did we have a whole season dedicated to him dating Anu? Like, this is the final season. He's dating some woman. He's going to get married to her, going to do this big grand gesture, and Howard stops him, and then nothing else happens. We don't even get a whisper of him going to meet someone else, and you know, we don't even have a scene of him meeting her at a comic book store and them talking about like mutual things. Like, there's just, why didn't we finish his story? Like, that absolutely confounded me. I mean, he could have been the start of the show finally in the last couple of episodes, and he wasn't. Like, why? Like, they could have done, there's this episode that I remember about Sheldon is trying to find someone else when Amy has broken up with him, and he's, I think, in one of their breaks or whatever, and he does this really cryptic puzzle to try and they go, whoever answers this is going to be the love of his life. They follow all of this, blah, 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 this thing ensures, and she's there, and she's like, basically, like, they have built up this whole episode. Like, I understand that they did the Anu thing, and it would have been really hard to have found someone in such a short space of time, but they literally built a whole episode surrounding this, and you were so excited for Sheldon to be with this beautiful woman that you see for like 2 minutes, and they could have done a similar thing with Raj, and they don't. Like, it just didn't make any sense. I'm like, why go through all that stress with Anu if it wasn't going to lead anywhere? And then if we weren't even going to give Raj a happily ever after, why didn't we do that instead of making fucking Penny fucking pregnant? Like, that, ever since we had that episode where Penny was like, so I'm going to diverge here, I'm done ranting about Raj, I'm going to go to Penny and Leonard. Ever since we had that episode where Penny was telling Leonard, I don't ever want to have kids, and Leonard had to get over it, and then we had the whole Zach and his baby thing and the Batmobile, like, we did that, and I was like, I'm so proud of the producers, but I feel like it's not going to stick. I feel like she's going to change her mind, or they're going to have an accident. And you know what? They had an accident in the last fucking episode. Like, oh my god, I was so angry. I need to stop swearing, I'm sorry. I was so angry about it because it again perpetrates the narrative that women who don't want to have kids really do. But they're really going to anyways, even if they don't want to. And it's like, no. Why is that okay? We had this really strong woman who just said, no, you know what? I don't want kids. And she had a man that was like, well, I kind of wanted them, but you know what? I love you more. So let's not have kids. Why did you have to make them have kids? But it wasn't even done in a convincing way because it was in the last episode, and so all we get from them is a little bit of them going, oh, like, you know, we're pregnant, and some humor around Penny going to the toilet all the time, and Sheldon being scared that she's sick and then she's throwing up, and like, I'm like, why did it need to be there? If they didn't know how to add tension with Penny and Leonard in the last episode because their stories were pretty much done, then why did you just not have them be in it that much and focus more on Raj? I'm so angry about this. It just, like, if you were gonna have them end up with a surprise, like with an accident, then why make such a big deal in an earlier episode of the season about Penny not wanting to have kids? Like, I feel like it could have been okay if you didn't make such a big deal about it. But no, you're just forever reinstating over and over and over and over and over again in television that when women say no, they actually mean yes. We don't need it. I was so disappointed in the show, and the sad thing is I could see it coming a mile away. I don't really have any issues with Bernadette and Howard. I don't think anything really happened with them. It kind of was just some drama about their kids, which, you know, is fine. I think their story was done and dusted. We're happy. I don't think that they decided to do anything weird with that. That was good, cool, beautiful. Amy and Sheldon's was a bit because the big moment at the end of the season is Sheldon realizing, I'm sure for like the millionth time in the season, that his friends are important, that the world doesn't revolve around him, blah 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 blah. Haven't we gone through this character growth before? Like, I feel like it was just so mediocre for the finale of the season for him to be realizing this. Like, I'm like, he learns this when fucking him and Amy get engaged and her colleagues want to talk about her and not him. He learns it then. Like, I'm so disappointed that this is the finale. Like, I get that them winning the Nobel was really cool and it was like the height of their scientific career. That I totally understand. I get it. I don't know how you would rehash it, but I feel like Raj should have been the star of the show in like the last season because his story wasn't wrapped up. The rest of them are wrapped up. Or we could have had Amy and Sheldon getting pregnant because they are the ones that actually wanted to have the kids. Like, why, if we wanted to do pregnancy, why did it have to be Leonard and Penny? Why couldn't it have been Sheldon and Amy? I don't get it. So overall, if I was giving the season finale, the last 2 episodes, a ranking, it would probably be only 2 stars. I was so disappointed. What did you think though? Can you change my mind? You know, as someone who wants to have kids, I'm glad that Leonard gets to have a baby because he really wanted to. I'm just really disappointed that they made the Penny narrative, and like, I get that accidents can happen, I do understand that, but it is shown way too much in literature that a woman's no to having kids ends up being a yes, and that is a really harmful thing that is consistently pushed into us, into society. Like, if you tell people that you don't want kids as a woman, they're like, oh, but you will. Like, one day, you will. And it's like, no. Like, no means no. Even if she changes her mind later on. But generally, if they're comfortable enough to be talking about it with people, they're not gonna change their mind. Like, just, stop. But there is too many, like, harmful narratives where women change their minds. And it's like, can we just stop? Like, we need more of no means no with kids. And if you wanted to, you could think that later on Penny and Leonard have an accident, but why did we need to put it in the last season of the show? Why couldn't, or the last episode, couldn't we have put it earlier on and have given it a lot more justice and actually seen Penny's reactions? Like, I feel like maybe it could have, like, if you wanted them pregnant, do it as like the cliffhanger at the end of the second last season, and then we can spend the rest of this season having Penny like come to terms with the pregnancy and with having kids when she thought she was never going to. And then we wouldn't have had that episode where she said she doesn't want to have kids, because trust me, Penny's a smart bitch. Like, I know that people like to make fun of like when she gets drunk and makes dumb decisions and stuff like that, but she is a very, 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 very smart woman, and you cannot tell me that she not wanting to have kids, she would have had a contraception that wasn't just fucking condoms or the pill. If she knew as a woman, and a woman that is in the science world now, who is a sales lady for all these different kind of pharmaceuticals, she would have either had an implement, which is totally like, it does not rely on a person at all, it gets put in and then it protects you for like 3 years, or she would have got a marina, which again 3 to 5, like, there is no way that she would have just been relying on condoms as contraception to then have an accident. Like, this is stupid people in the show wanting her and Leonard to get pregnant because they didn't know what to write in the last 2 episodes, and they couldn't do it just, like, I just, makes me so angry. I'm sorry, Raj. I know in my heart that you're going to find someone and that you should have been the star of the show finally in the last 2 episodes, and I'm really sorry that they didn't do justice. So thanks everybody for listening to this rant. I feel so much better. Daniel hasn't even finished watching it, so I couldn't rant to him, though I don't know, maybe he probably wouldn't have felt the same way because he doesn't love Big Bang like I do. But I'm just so, I'm so annoyed. I do kind of like them sitting on the couch together and so the season, like the Friends finale was a lot more final because they were all moving in different directions, but I do mostly, but I do kind of like how the way that Big Bang ended, it kind of gave you a feeling that they were just like, their lives are still continuing out there, they're still getting up to their shenanigans and everything like that. So that was still nice. That was nice, but that's probably the only nice thing that I'm gonna say about it. So, yeah. How do you guys deal? Like, is this a support group for people that get disappointed by the finales of their shows? Like, oh man. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, though I promise you there is more bookish content than anything else. Though if people like this video, I might talk more about TV shows because there's something that I also get really passionate about and have to talk to people about them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll chat to you again next time. Bye!